Authorities are still working to process the crime scene where 9 biker gang members died and 18 others were injured during a brawl this past weekend. 5 different gangs were at this restaurant for a meeting, and detectives now believe that the fight began when an uninvited group showed up at the meeting and parked in the wrong spot. But police say the investigation into the shootout could continue for weeks, if not months. And tonight, we're getting an inside look at one of the most notorious and dangerous motorcycle gangs in the world.
A retired Arizona ATF agent who went undercover to infiltrate the Hells Angels motorcycle gang says it would be naive to think that something like Waco could not happen here in Arizona. It very well could.
Fox 10's Jill Monier spoke to him tonight, and she joins us live with more on what he had to say. Jill.
John and Carrie, Jay Dobyns worked for the ATF for more than 27 years. Well, he's credited with bringing down a number of criminals. He's best known for his infiltration of the Hells Angels. He's believed to be the first law enforcement officer to become a full patched member, something he says the club's leadership denies to this day. Covered in tattoos and skull rings, these photos show what undercover ATF agent Jay Dobyns looked like when he infiltrated the notorious Hells Angels biker gang in Arizona in 2001.
During the 2 years I spent with the gang, there were 7 or 8 club-related murders, and much of what we saw in Texas were things that I experienced. Club-on-club violence.
Dobyns says Sunday's gunfight in Texas was a brewing turf battle between biker clubs. He says the same kind of thing could happen in Arizona, where the Hells Angels rule.
They control Arizona, but there's other gangs that want a piece of Arizona, namely the Mongols, who they've had a 30-year running bloodbath war with. To think that that couldn't happen, that an event like we saw in Waco couldn't happen anywhere in Arizona, you're being naive.
Dobyns says law enforcement in Texas is on high alert.
There's been validated, credible, documented threats of greenlit hits on cops, on law enforcement officers in uniform. These guys might not be the most educated, book smart people out there, but they have their PhDs in intimidation. They know how to scare people.
Dobyns knows. After his identity as an undercover agent was revealed in 2004, he says he felt the wrath of the Hells Angels.
Death threats, threats on my family, threats on my kids, threats on my wife. My house was burned to the ground in 2008. Somehow, remarkably, my family stuck by me. That gang, that patch, it's their religion. It's the Bible that they live by. And they will fight for it, and they will kill for it. And as we've seen many times, they believe in it so strongly they'll die for it.
Now, Dobyns sued the government, saying in part the ATF failed to properly address the threats made against him, and a judge ruled in his favor last year. Dobyns recently retired from the ATF. He still lives in Arizona and runs a consulting firm. Reporting live, Jill Monier, Fox 10 News.